What's up, short attention span history nerds? I'm Mike Perry, and you're watching 10-Minute History. Did you ever play war when you were a kid? You know, you and your friends would run around the neighborhood with sticks, pretending to be soldiers in a major battle until mom called you in for dinner and you had to end the battle a little early because it was spaghetti night. Well, this 9-year-old in 1861 was actually enlisted into the United States Army and actually did go to war, and he didn't even get spaghetti. His name was John Linclon Clem, but became known as Johnny Shiloh after a harrowing incident at the Battle of Shiloh. He was a United States Army general who served first as a drummer boy in the Union Army in the American Civil War. Then he gained fame for his bravery on the battlefield, becoming the youngest non-commissioned officer in United States Army history. Now, the age he became a non-commissioned officer will shock you. John Linclon Clem was born in Newark, Ohio on August 13, 1851. And in the summer of 1861, at the age of 9, he ran away from home after the death of his mother. And I guess his dad wasn't too fond of little Johnny because he didn't go after him. Clem wanted to enlist in the U.S. Army and fight the Confederates. It's said that little Clem had many black friends in Ohio and couldn't fathom the idea of one of his friends or his friend's parents being forced into slavery. Clem first tried to enlist into 3rd Ohio Infantry, but was rejected because of his age and small size. You'd think that the age thing would be the only reason, but I guess if he was a tall 9-year-old, they would have considered him. He then tried to join the 22nd Michigan Infantry, but they also refused him. Undeterred, he tagged along anyways, and eventually the 22nd Infantry adopted him as a mascot and drummer boy. The officers of the 22nd chipped in to pay him the regular soldier's wage of $13 a month and allowed him to officially enlist 2 years later at 11 years old. Most 11-year-olds nowadays can't even stay up past 10 p.m. This boy was an enlisted soldier. Now here's where Clem got the name Johnny Shiloh. You see, in 1853, Clem was serving as a drummer boy with the 22nd Michigan at the Battle of Shiloh. A shrapnel shell landed very close to Clem and exploded, knocking him unconscious and nearly killing him. When he came to, he noticed his drum was demolished. His comrades found him dazed and trying in vain to put his drum back together. Now, for his bravery and determination in the battle, they nicknamed him Johnny Shiloh. In a later battle, Clem served as drummer boy for the 22nd at the Battle of Chickamauga, where it was reported that he was riding an artillery caisson to the front lines and wielding a musket cut down for his size. During a Union retreat, he shot a Confederate colonel who had demanded his surrender. After the battle, the drummer boy of Chickamauga, as the soldiers were calling him now, was promoted to sergeant at 11 years old, the youngest soldier ever to be a non-commissioned officer in the United States Army. Secretary of the Treasury, later Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, and fellow Ohioan Salmon P. Chase decorated him for his heroics at Chickamauga. In October 1863, Clem was captured in Georgia by Confederate cavalrymen while detailed as a train guard. The Confederates confiscated his Union weapon, which reportedly upset him terribly, including his cap, which had 3 bullet holes in it. He was included in a prisoner exchange a short time later, but the Confederate newspaper used his age and celebrity status for propaganda purposes to show what sore straits the Yankees are driven when they have to send their babies out to fight us. After participating with the Army of the Cumberland in many of the battles, serving as a mounted orderly, he was discharged in September 1864. Clem was wounded in combat twice during the war. In 1870, Clem decided to go to high school in order to apply for West Point Military Academy. Immediately after high school, in 1871, he was elected commander of the Washington Rifles, a district of Columbia Army National Guard military unit. Clem ultimately failed his entrance exam to enter West Point, and upon hearing this, President Ulysses S. Grant appointed him second lieutenant in the 24th United States Infantry in December 1871. Clem was promoted to first lieutenant in 1874. Clem graduated from artillery school at Fort Monroe in 1875. He was promoted to captain in 1882 and transferred to the quartermaster department, where he stayed for the rest of his career. He was promoted to major in 1895. 3 years later, during the Spanish-American War in 1898, he served as depot quartermaster in Portland, Oregon, as well as department quartermaster for the Department of Columbia. He would go on to serve in the occupation of Puerto Rico as depot and chief quartermaster in San Juan. Clem was promoted to lieutenant colonel in 1901 and to colonel in 1903. He then served from 1906 to 1911 as chief quartermaster at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. Now, Clem reached the mandatory retirement age of 64 on August 13, 1915. He retired and was promoted to the rank of brigadier general, as was customary for American Civil War veterans who retired at the rank of colonel. Clem was the last veteran of the American Civil War serving in the U.S. Army at the time. On August 29, 1916, Clem was promoted on the retired list to the rank of Major General. After retirement, he lived in Washington, D.C. with his wife and children before returning to San Antonio, Texas. He died in San Antonio on May 13, 1937, and was buried in Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington County, Virginia. So that's the true story of John Linclon Clem, or Johnny Shiloh, the youngest enlisted soldier in American history. Now, there's a lot of legends of Johnny Shiloh that I didn't include in this video. Let me know in the comment section if you know of any of these legends. And if you like short history videos with sarcasm and humor, please consider subscribing to 10-Minute History. If you like this video in particular, give it a thumbs up. And stick around for the bloopers and check out one of the other videos that YouTube's gonna recommend. Until next time. A harrowing incident. Oh, that's not what it says. Now, Clem wanted to enlist in the United States Army and fight for the Confederates. He wanted to fight the Confederates. Blah, 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 blah. Say your words correctly. I should really read these ahead of time.